In this video, we'll be addressing the knowledge component of AI literacy. Now, this is the third aspect of overall AI literacy. And AI literacy is something that's important for every single person to develop, especially faculty and students. To begin with, we need to understand that AI literacy in general, we need to have knowledge of what is AI literacy overall and how does it fit within overall literacy. Well, let's break that down. Let's look at how the United Nations, a international organization, right? That's why I chose it. Let's see how they break down literacy to begin with. It says that literacy is a set of reading, writing, and counting skills. Literacy is now understood as a means of identification, understanding, interpretation, creation, and communication in an increasingly digital, text-mediated, information-rich, and fast-changing world. Great, that makes sense. So within literacy, as a big blanket description, we have also digital literacy. So digital literacy is defined as the ability to access, manage, understand, integrate, communicate, evaluate, and create information safely and appropriately through digital technologies for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Now, in defining AI literacy overall, it's important to have knowledge about that. We'll look at a United Nations report dealing with AI in education, guidance for policymakers. Here it defines AI literacy as thinking critically and responsibly about choices, rights, and privileges in the context of AI and its impact on day-to-day lives, protection of privacy and control of own data and decisions, and also understanding limitations as well as differences between AI and human intelligence. So now, having understood literacy and then digital literacy, you might think, oh, well, since we already have digital literacy, why do we need to separate that from AI literacy? Well, that's a good question, and there's a good answer that once again comes from UNESCO, from the United Nations. It states that AI is distinct from other digital technologies due to its potential to profoundly reshape societies, economies, and education systems. Unlike conventional information and communication technologies, ICTs, AI poses unique ethical and social challenges, such as issues of fairness, transparency, privacy, and accountability. Additionally, AI's unique ability to mimic human behavior directly impacts human agency. These challenges require dedicated competencies beyond the scope of traditional digital literacy. That makes a lot of sense. And that is the idea behind the way that I've created this framework of AI literacy with these four specific components. So it's important to have knowledge as far as the background and why things are put together this way, because it's much more than just knowing what is AI. No, there are these specific components. So it's important for us to have that type of knowledge. An important overall understanding of AI literacy is that now it is available to everyone around the world. Now, sure, there might be some aspects of inequality and actually being able to connect to the internet. Yes, we'll always have those issues to deal with. But in general, it's available and it's freely available, meaning that pretty much everyone can find some access in a free tier to be able to access the AI. Now, this is important to understand because when I say everyone, I mean students are using it. I mean professors are using it. Businesses are using it. Competitors within businesses are using it. That's important to understand. Additionally, we have organizations throughout the world that are using it, and even governments are now using AI as well. I say this because even if we're someone that doesn't agree with AI and doesn't believe that people should be using AI, you still must develop this AI literacy so you can have a better comprehension as far as what's going out there in the world and how it's being used. So that's a vital thing to have from the very beginning. Now, in addition to that, we also have to have knowledge about other things going on with AI when we use it. We need to understand what's going on with our data. Is our data being secure? Is it safe? What's happening to our personal information? A big thing here is to understand that all AIs are not the same. This is why you really need to read those terms of service when you sign up for an AI. There are different versions of terms of service, so all AIs aren't using the same one. Some of them will clearly state, hey, we are going to reuse your data. We are going to train our future models with this. So that's important to understand. Now, usually there's more protection when you're paying for an AI as opposed to just the free tier. But even in the free tiers, there's differences. So it's important to look at that. I'll give you a prime example of this is OpenAI. Originally, OpenAI they stated, hey, we're not going to reuse your information. We're just reusing the interactions and the feedback that you give us. But they changed that, and they will use your AI information, anything that you put in there, they're going to use it to train a future model. That's what most or several of the AIs out there are doing. They're using the interactions that you have, whatever you put in there, to train future models. Now, most of them will allow you to opt out. Not all of them. Some of them will allow you to opt out. OpenAI does that. You simply have to go into the settings and then specifically say that you don't want your content to be used in that way. You want it to be even more protected. You can actually go in and delete your histories as well. So that's important to understand. How safe, how is my data being used? What are the issues with that? Along with that are understandings of actual utilization, right? And this ties back in with capabilities. Is it okay for me to use the AI in this way? I need to have knowledge as far as the protections and the terms of service, once again. Because if I'm using a special AI that is more private, that there's an API access and we're using it because we're paying for it, and so all the information is protected, that would be one thing. There I could now put in some additional content that I wouldn't be able to before. So this is important for if we're using AI in some advanced way to, let's say, for grading or for statistical analysis where we might have more private sensitive information being used. We need to make sure that we're using an AI that is protected, that that information won't be leaked out or used for training future models. So that's important to understand as well. Additionally, there's more here because we're talking about the knowledge component of AI literacy. We need to continually develop our own knowledge capability. And that means that we need to know terms. We need to have understanding of certain concepts. There's lots of different terms out there. You know, what does LLM mean? Large language model. What is NLP? There's all these different terms that we need to start to make sure that we are starting to integrate into our own lexicon so that we know what it means, right? There's lots of terms being thrown out there as far as artificial general intelligence. So what does that mean? Super intelligence, what does that mean? Machine learning, what does that mean? All these things we need to start to learn and understand so that as we read books, as we watch videos about AI, and we're developing an increased knowledge of these things, we can better comprehend and follow along with what's being said. So this will help to develop our overall capabilities, our overall understanding, and our overall ways that we can use the AI to our own benefit. So that's another key component there of AI literacy, dealing with knowledge, is this terminology. And then finally, I want to make sure that we also understand the utilizations, right? How is AI being used? We need to have knowledge of this. So I like to be very optimistic about AI and talk about lots of great things that we can use AI for, especially in education, which, I mean, we can use AI as a tool to create so many things to help us with the teaching process, to help us with the learning process. As a student has so much agency now because they can use AI as a study buddy and to help it with simulations, all sorts of different things that AI can be used in such a powerful, positive way. But of course, we also have to understand that AI can be used in negative ways, right? Because now we have capabilities such as the ability to easily and quickly create deepfakes. We have to be aware of that. We have to know that, yes, Hollywood can use this AI to create very great and realistic special effects, to have actors that have passed away a long time ago, have actors that couldn't complete a film, now it can be completed because we can use AI in this way. But of course, AI can be used in lots of negative ways. It's been used in many nefarious ways to put people in compromising positions, to have people saying things that they didn't, that they would never do, all these different things. And the thing is that this has real consequences. It can really affect people's images. There's political ads that could be made, that have been made, that show the candidates in negative lights, right? There are all sorts of different situations where it could be really damaging to that person, or it could sway people's thoughts or ideas, beliefs It can divide countries because of the way that things are being presented. So this is important to keep in mind. And the thing is that this technology is becoming easier and easier. Here's an example of videos that were made instantaneously being made, and look how realistic this is. These images or these videos were made from a single still. So a single photo was given to an AI and it was able to create all of this video components. And then an AI was also used to create audio for these. I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want to violate any copyright, but this is all available. Here's the link for you to be able to go and see it, of how new AIs are able to do this super quickly, super easily at a fraction of a cost. So you can see how this is a real concern, and we need to be aware of that. Why do we need to be aware of that? So that we don't get falsely deceived into doing things, or falsely deceived into making certain choices, as well as scams. Lots of people have lost lots of money because of these deep fakes, because of being scammed through audio scams, through video scams. So it's important to understand that. I made a separate video talking about how to ensure that we aren't being deceived by AIs. I have a whole video where I went through and I described the trap test, right? This is an acronym talking about how we can do certain things by making sure that we're checking certain aspects of whatever it is that we're looking at, whether it's video, audio, images, text. We need to look to make sure that there is good information in the background, good information as far as where is this coming from? Is this a reliable source? All these different important components that goes back to regular literacy and digital literacy in general. So you can see how all this ties together. Now, this is important for us to know, not just us in academia, not just students, but all citizens need to develop these type of capabilities. Am I real, right? Could I just be a robot of some sort, just giving you information? But that's why you need to understand, well, how can I check? How can I make sure? And things like, well, does this person have a LinkedIn page? Does this person have more credibility? How long have they been doing these things? You can trace back my videos for a long time, right? So you can see how there are ways to help to ensure, at least on some level, that this is real, this is correct. So these are the type of tools that everyone needs to understand in order to help to ensure that they aren't being deceived, that they're using things appropriately, and that they are fully developing AI literacy so that they can enhance their capabilities and be able to function and fully compete in this new AI-infused world. So now we have an overall understanding of the knowledge component of AI literacy. But how do we specifically teach students to develop this? So I'm going to go and list a few different techniques that I recommend that you try so that you can help the students understand this component and develop this important aspect of AI literacy overall. Now, this comes pretty much from my book, but I want to make sure to express this to you, to share it with you, because what I'm most guided by, what I'm most driven by, is to help everyone develop AI literacy. It's so important, especially now as we have AI agents and all these new things being developed. So how can we teach this to students? Well, the very first thing is simply discussion. Bring up a discussion in class, whether that is something directly tied to the topic, directly tied to the course in general. But there are lots of different instances where things come up where, hey, AI is being used in this way, or there's a new model or something, and it can be somehow pertaining to your topic. So definitely just bring it up as a discussion. So that's one. Another one is sort of an extension of that, is where you have your students have some sort of discussion-led thing where the students lead it. So that means the students find some news article dealing with something that pertains to the class that is also tied in with AI. So whether that's some deep fake that was used, or whether that's an AI tool that's being used in this field of biology or chemistry or whatever the topic is, that would be a great opportunity to have a student now lead the discussion. So this works really well when content is relevant as well as timely, meaning it's going on right now. So that's really a powerful, great opportunity to have these type of discussions. Another one would be for a quiz, right? The terminology thing, that's something that all of us have to work on. So you could incorporate that as a simple quiz to help students develop this understanding of these different terms. So let me give you an example of how you could do this. You could simply go to your favorite AI, in this case ChatGPT, and give it a prompt such as this. Please assume the role of a subject matter expert in generative AI. Create a 10-question quiz with multiple choice and fill in the blank questions dealing with generative AI terms. Include identification and descriptions for LLM, NLP, general artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, inference, prompt engineering, hallucination, foundational model, and human in the loop. I want to give an in-class quiz to my students to help improve their knowledge of AI literacy. Please give me an answer key at the end. Sure enough, the results of this are really powerful, really great. This would be a nice, easy way to implement this within a class to help students practice and develop an understanding of this terminology because it's very important. Now, in that case, you saw that I listed specifically the terms that I wanted, but you could simply ask AI, hey, what are the top terms that students should know dealing with generative AI? So many different ways that you could use that. Now, the final technique that I would suggest that you think about to incorporate would be project-based learning, right? If you use a project-based learning technique, you could put the students into groups and have them do some sort of project dealing with AI. This really helps students to go through the process of researching and understanding, and it's very hands-on as well. You could have them create their own deepfake, right? To go through the process and understand, well, what's involved with this? How difficult is this? And then you could have an opportunity to talk about different ethical implications, right? Is this appropriate? How could this be done in a way that is beneficial, such as, well, I could clone Einstein like we saw in that clip, and now we could use it to help learn about the theory of relativity and all these different things in a very powerful and enhancement ways. Now, what are some bad ways that AI could be used in creating a deepfake? So you could have these great discussions. So that would be a great opportunity, a great way to really make it hands-on, make it really engaging for the students. So those are several different ideas there for you to think about and incorporate depending on your subject matter. The biggest thing is that we do something to help develop this within our students. So this is the component of knowledge, which is very powerful and a key aspect of overall AI literacy, which we need everyone to develop. So please like, share, so that everyone gets exposed to this. This is part of a playlist of all the different components of AI literacy. So let's work together so that we can spread the word and continue to develop this within our community as well as throughout the world. And remember that learning is for life.